Welcome to Rise and Grind. My name is Amy Mulvane. I'm a retirement account executive at Arista Consulting Group. Today I have Toby Anderson, our financial planner, with us. And the goal of our little series here today is to help lead you closer to financial security. And today we're going to be speaking about budgeting. So we are halfway through the month of February. I know a lot of people have set New Year's resolutions around their finances, just like health and weight loss. We need to pay a little bit of attention to what's going on in our wallet. And whenever you hear the word budget, a lot of people get that feeling in their stomach, but it doesn't have to be that way. So today our goal is to give you some tips that you can take forward with you to make some small changes and set some goals that will help you reach your retirement goals faster, your savings goals faster, and your overall financial health faster. So good afternoon, Toby.
How you doing, Amy?
Doing good. Let's dive right into this budgeting workshop.
Yeah, well, you kind of touched on it, by mentioning the different things. I mean, as a financial planner, I'm always helping people try to make adjustments and reach their goals. And honestly, it always starts with budgeting, right? I rarely ever meet any successful, ready to retire, got it all together, that can't budget their own money, right? I mean, whether you're 20 years old and single, newly married, in the thick of it with kids like you and I both are, or on the other end of it and retired, budgeting is just central to everything. If you don't know what's coming in and what's going out, it's hard to recover from not understanding that thing. So I'm going to share my screen here real quick. And I think I'm just going to give you 6 basic things. None of this is rocket science, right? None of this is stuff that I created. It's just some basic tips to help you either get started or to fine tune. And after this, at the very end, we'll share a couple of ways that if you need some additional help, we're here to support that. So, but like we said, the budgeting is just foundation to our financial lives. You just can't have a successful plan that doesn't start with understanding your budget, right? Whether that budget's including any of those things we listed there, and Amy, you already mentioned most of them, whether it's buying a home, saving for college for your kids, starting your own business, going to the very basics and initial steps of having an emergency fund, right? And obviously most of us are all included that into saving for retirement. So budgeting really incorporates everything. So start with your goals, right? This is kind of doing a little bit backwards. Start with the end in mind. What are you trying to achieve? What is your 1-year goal? What's your 5-year goal? And what's your ultimate goal toward retirement? How much do you think you're going to have? What does that look like for you? If you are married, we would highly encourage you to include your spouse in these conversations. It's just making sure you're on the same page to know why you're, kind of treating your money the way you're treating. And these are 3 different things. You might be in that situation where you need to save that emergency fund. Hey, I need $1,000. So if the car breaks down or if the dishwasher breaks or whatever it is, Amy, you and I both know well, those things happen every single year. There's always a need for that emergency fund. Some of us are in debt, right? You may be sitting there going, man, I really wish I wasn't, strapped and stressed about the amount of debt. Make that one of your top goals to pay off, whether it's 5,000, 1,000, whatever it is, write it down, write these goals on a sheet of paper so you know what you're trying to accomplish. I would suggest putting them somewhere where you can see them daily, put them on your mirror, put them in your car, that way you see it when you're going to work. These days, maybe you put it right on your computer so you see it when you fire up your next Zoom meeting. Whatever it is, set the goals. We, us at Arista, leading people to financial security, a lot of times that incorporates your 401k or your 403b. Set a goal so within the next 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, to increase the percentage you're contributing. If you're putting in 4%, make it a goal to be at 6% by the end of the year. So, but write those things down, whatever it is. And then go into number 2, know your income. This is an easy one, but some people just kind of seem to let it go aside. You've got to understand exactly how much is coming into your checking account every month, net of taxes, net of, healthcare, all that kind of stuff. Know exactly the amounts going in so you can budget properly. And then with that, the hard part's the expenses. You got to know where all the money's going. have separate line items for the stuff that doesn't necessarily happen every month, like maybe medical expenses, but it certainly does happen. We suggest going through your credit card statements or your debit card. Amy, you and I were talking the other day about how many, how often someone says, "Hey, I'm paying my cable bill," but then what else comes after the cable bill?
Right. Yeah.
Netflix or
I know with my kids, we have Netflix, we have Disney Plus. My daughter has Varsity TV with Cheer. So there's a lot of other expenses under the category of TV than just the cable bill. I'd like to also, Toby, point out, with knowing your expenses, it's really hard to remember all the different ways you swipe your card. So writing it down is so important, and it's so critical that you're really honest with yourself and with your spouse during this exercise. This exercise is only as good as the honesty that you put into it. You can only correct behaviors if you're honest about the fact that you have a spending habit. So it doesn't mean that what you're spending your money on is bad. It just means that you need to look at how much is coming in and then objectively look at how much is going out and in what categories is it going out. Can we tweak that a little bit and massage it to create some room to be able to save more, whether that is for the emergency fund or for paying off debt, or whether that's to save more for retirement. It's about creating some margin.
Yeah, that is exactly right. I love the word you just used there, margin. All of us want more margin in most areas of our lives, certainly with finances. So once you've created that realistic budget, the margin you have there left over. What's your income? What's your expenses? Now you've got your goal set in. What's left over? That's your margin. And then the fun part is deciding what is the best use of that margin. And if you don't have it, like you said, Amy, what can we go through and cut in order to create more margin? Because that just makes it will, I promise you, it'll make your life less stressful. And a life less stressful usually, is better for everybody. And it's usually better for those around you as well. So, and after you're doing that, that's where you come in, like I was just saying, revisit your goals and your expenses. Can you make changes? What's the most important to you? Is it paying off debt, or is it saving for retirement? Know what's most important. Change the timelines. Be realistic, like you said. Be honest with yourself about how long it's going to take to pay something off. And then the last thing is, then if you don't have that margin, you got two options: find a way to increase your income, or find a way to cut your expenses, right? And so that kind of leads you to where you want to go. But you got to be honest, like you said, in order to create that margin. Being realistic with what you're trying to do. Don't get discouraged along the way. Budgeting can be very discouraging for people especially if you don't have that margin. I've been there. Amy, I'm guessing you've been there. Most everybody has been there. But get on a path and on a plan to help you get in a better situation than you are today. This last little bit is just look for websites and stuff that can help you with ideas. There's some good ideas on this americasaves.org website. Gives you some additional tips. There's apps you can use. There's tons of ways. Dave Ramsey, most people have heard of him. He's got some great tips and some budgeting stuff. But just know we're here to help. You feel free, anyone watching this, to reach out to myself, to Amy. We will help you in any way possible. We have some tools and some software that we'll give you for free to help you, create that budget, understand your cash flow, understand your net worth. Just some of the basic things that you need to get in place in order to hopefully achieve your goals.
Yeah, so the challenge for 2021, it's never too late to get started. We'd like to challenge you to do exactly what we've talked about today. Set some financial goals for yourself. Don't make them too lofty where you're not going to be able to accomplish them, so you get discouraged. Make them realistic so you can have some wins and create some momentum towards your finances. Do a budget with your significant other. Begin writing and tracking everything down so you can get an honest picture of what your finances look like. And then try to save a little more for retirement. When you do create that margin, up those 403B or 401k contributions, even if it's by 1%. You'll definitely be glad you did, because every day's passing and we're getting closer to retirement, which hopefully that means being prepared and enjoying your money a little bit longer. So thank you for these tips, Toby, and for your time. And it is our goal to help lead you to financial security. So thanks for watching our budgeting workshop.
Thank you all.